Tell me we're ready to go live. Okay, so apparently we're live, ladies and gentlemen. This is my buddy Reagan Lodge. He's well, I would describe him as an artist, a philosopher, and a warrior. We were stationed in Quantico together for a bit. Pretty outstanding dude. But before this, we were talking about fucking California being on fire.
Yeah. There's I guess there's a wildfire in Alpine, which is not too far away from me, but it's far enough to not be an immediate concern. But if I start coughing and packing things up while the stream is going, you know what's up.
Yeah, no, I got you on that. You know, one of the things I think's funny about that is everybody's like, oh my God, California's on fire. It's like, dude, that's part of the ecosystem. It's supposed to burn down every year, so no shit can be planted, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, ideally it's supposed to burn down periodically. I mean, the local Indian tribes used to do controlled burns pretty regularly to, get rid of the undergrowth and stuff.
Yeah.
And until now we've got just piles and piles of undergrowth that just stacks up for decades and then just goes overnight, pretty much.
Yeah. Also, since it was kind of short getting in here, I don't know if you've watched the show before or not, but
I've tuned in a couple times in the background. So
yeah. So like, I don't have a big, I don't really have a big set list or anything, but I do have a hard.
I usually don't like over planning things myself either.
Oh.
I just have a good system for doing things.
Yeah, no, like I got a couple things written down, but if they don't come up, they don't come up, and that's mainly for if there's a lull in conversation. It's like, hey, so how about them Bears? But the other thing is like I have a hard, 2 hour out because if
that's fine, that works for me.
At it, they're like nobody's gonna watch anything longer than that. But if you get bored or tired or want to go fuck off before, then be like, I gotta go let the cat out.
Yeah. After an hour, maybe I might start needing to duck out, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But yeah, 2 hours is perfect for me.
Sweet, sounds good. Yeah. So what have you been up to though? Because like I've been watching a few of the things on YouTube you got where you're doing that, and then you're just what is it? I know you're on Twitch, but like I only go on Twitch when I'm like hammered, and I've watched everything there is on YouTube, and it's like let me go troll these people, but then like whoever's on is like, oh, I actually kind of like this. I'm just going to sit down and watch.
Yeah. So basically, since about 2016, I've been working on a graphic novel.
Wyatt? Is that how it's pronounced?
You can pronounce it Wyatt or Wit. I kind of really don't care how people pronounce it, but yeah. So basically, I kind of got the concept and the idea for it in 2016. It originally just started as kind of like a self-therapy project to kind of get my butt back into gear because my art skills were just a complete wreck, and I was kind of a complete wreck. And I wanted something fun to focus on. And it started off as just kind of a hobby or a thing to just sort of throw into class assignments now and then just to have an idea well that I could dip into periodically. And then over time, it started to become just more and more of a story that I couldn't let go of. And it went through a couple big drafts. I penciled out a whole 250-page version, like sketched version of the book at one point, then scrapped the whole thing and restarted in 2018. And I've been inking the comic pages since then. So it's going to be about 190 pages total, around that amount.
That's a nice big girth for a graphic novel.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be big. And right now I'm about 135 pages in for the artwork. So it's past the peak. It's getting a little bit easier day by day at this point.
There's that light at the end of the tunnel. Like I don't know what the plot's about, but like I've seen the art, and the art's fucking outstanding.
I mean, the plot's it's really easy. It's basically like if you took the character style of like Disney's Robin Hood or Star Fox, you took the kind of diesel punk aesthetic of Disney's Atlantis or Nausicaa by Miyazaki, and you kind of gave it the sort of buddy friendship adventure story of Terminator 2, where you've got this young guy who's on the run from just a tremendous ruinous powers, and this mysterious hulking brute soldier, like straight out of an 80s action film, who's been sent to protect him.
Yeah, and that's the fox guy and like the big like Saint Bernard looking,
kind of wolfish looking guy. Yeah. I can do like screen shares, during the stream to make those visible if it's relevant.
Well, I mean,
but that's basically what I do. That's my part-time job. Basically, I make part-time job amounts through Patreon, Twitch, and Subscribestar, doing that. And then by day, I work mostly just farm labor and farm security, truck driving, and stuff like that.
Nice. I haven't heard of Starstream. Is that what you called it?
Subscribestar. It's kind of a alternative to Patreon.
Okay.
A lot of people. It's a lot more popular with people who are have been deplatformed from Patreon, or whether it's because of I don't know, thought crime, or they do really, really raunchy porn. And
I don't know, man. I've seen some fucking porno on Patreon.
Yeah, I'm not even. I don't think anybody's really clear on what Patreon's rules are. It's like if you get booted off Patreon, you go to Subscribestar. But I'm never one to put all my eggs in one basket, so I use Patreon and Subscribestar.
That's probably not a bad idea. I've thought about doing the Patreon thing, but then I look at it and it's like, dude, I am not putting out that much fucking content.
It really depends. You have to have some kind of instant gratification content, I've noticed. In your case, because you're predominantly a writer, it might be a hard pitch. It's not impossible. I've seen people do it, but you're better off just focusing on just building up your product base of books and stuff, and then just building your audience and brand. And then when you've got something that could maybe be exclusive paywall content, look into it probably.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna wait till I'm famous enough to where I can just skip Patreon and go straight to fucking a Pornhub account. But it's all right, I'm writing this book, I'm not wearing a shirt. You like that? Yeah, you do.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm a sex worker. I stream for 8 or 10 hours a day wearing this sweaty tank top, showing off my chest hair, and having Brazilian guys come into my chat going ja 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 ja. Your pecs so big they look like breasts. Way. And I deserve respect and recognition for my labor.
See that's a little bit dangerous though, because if shit hits the fan, you survive the nuclear apocalypse. If you're a big dude, that's a lot of meat. Sorry, buddy, we got to eat you first.
I'm also 6'2" though, so I can arguably run faster than most of the hungry manlets.
Well, I mean that comes down to that thought experiment though, where it's could you beat up, or how many rounds could you go through if each round was 10 kindergartners, and then every 5th round there was 2 3rd graders?
Oh man, I remember just endlessly entertaining theoretical questions like that.
Yeah. Or what was the other one? It was would you rather fight 10 horses that were the size of a duck, or 1 duck that was the size of a horse? Dude, I'm taking the horse, man. You ever fought any bird? Birds are evil, dude.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you encounter a rooster that's aggressive enough, that's a vicious animal to deal with.
Yeah, I don't get that though. It's hey, if I'm gonna call you a pussy, I'm just gonna call you a chicken, right? It's dude, have you ever been in a fight with a chicken? I guarantee you didn't fucking win unless you had an axe or a shotgun.
Yeah, big. Oh, I mean, roosters can growl. A lot of people don't know that.
No, and then they got talons and shit. What is it? Chickens are the closest living relative to T-Rexes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, that whole Napoleon Dynamite question: do the chickens have large talons? I mean, it's a very valid question to ask.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, T-Rexes must have tasted delicious.
I've always wondered that. It's every once in a while you'll see some science blog come out with we're 3 months away from cloning a woolly rhinoceros or something, and inevitably the question everybody asks is, yeah, but what's it going to taste like? But God knows if it's actually ever going to.
I read a thing. I think it was in the 1910s, between Titanic and World War I. Somebody found a woolly mammoth just completely frozen in ice, and then they thawed it out, cut it up, and served steaks for $50. But it's $50 in 2010 money.
Wow.
So someone alive right now's dad or mom knows what a fucking woolly mammoth tastes like.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I did not even know about this. I mean, it's probably another one of those amazing things that come out of Russia.
Yeah, dude, have you seen that shit where it's the part of Russia that's I guess technically it's east, the part that's by Japan, up north, where these dudes just go out to the northern not Nordic Sea, Arctic Sea.
Arctic Circle.
Yeah, and they just like pull up woolly mammoth bones that like wash up on shore because however long ago the ice age was, the Arctic Circle wasn't underwater. That's like a within the last 15,000 years thing. So like bones are still just being washed ashore, and they take these bones and they either sell them to Chinamen and have them grind them up for medicine, or they like sell them to other people to like make chandeliers out of, or just like hey, we're gonna send this like way over to this point to be like a novelty item that people buy at truck stops or whatever.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I would love to be a trucker in Siberia just to encounter stuff like that.
Dude, I would not. I know I'm white, but I'm not that white guy in the fucking horror movie.
the Edwardian era sailor who gets some cursed idol at a mysterious port, kind of ignoring the warnings of the local blind mad fisherman who begs him to not take it.
Dude, I actually had something similar to that happen in real life almost.
Really?
So my sister is I don't even know what the fucking right thing to say is, but like every level of fucking like spiritual into it. It's like, oh yeah, fucking Wicca, I'm gonna get way into that. Voodoo, I'm gonna get way into that. Whatever the I don't hate my mom and I don't ride at the back of the bus, but worship Satan. I'm gonna go see what that shit's about. Go talk to fucking spirits and all this shit, right? Like into it, right? Like stuff where, like she starts talking. It's like, hey, listen, I want to have this conversation, but let's go outside in case he accidentally conjures something. It's not my house type stuff. But
holy crap.
I took a Quran off a guy in Afghanistan, right? And at the time she was going to for like she was in the Air Force as a Arab linguist, right? So I send her that. She's like, yeah, there's a really nasty jinn like attached to this thing. I'm like, sorry. Whoops.
Jeez. Did you keep it?
Oh well, no. I gave it to her because like, I didn't know. But
yeah, she
was like, yeah, no, really nasty spirit attached to this thing. So my camera's being funky. But she's like, yeah, no, I bound it to something else and put it in a glass jar and threw it in a river. I'm like, oh, that's one way to deal with it. Like if you haven't read, yeah, that's one way to deal with it if you haven't read like 1001 Arabian Nights, because inevitably some dude's gonna pull that up, like, oh, hey, cool, let's just open it. The sky goes dark. He's like, I've been here for 500 years.
I mean, oh yeah, you open it up and you get sucked into it, Bruce Campbell style. Your face gets all stretched out, like Army of Darkness.
Yeah, which was fucking amazing, by the way. Did you watch
Sorry, go ahead.
Did you watch the TV show?
No, I didn't get to. I mean, I saw like a couple snippets here and there.
If you get the chance, it's really good. The only bad thing about it is they set it up for a fucking kick-ass season 4, like in the season finale, season 3, and then they canceled the show, and it's like, you mother.
Oh, jeez.
I fucking
wait. What like year range was this around?
Like 2016 to 2019.
Oh, okay, so this is really recent. I missed out on it.
Yeah.
Also, there's a bunch of people in the chat from my crew in there, so probably I see Junkyard Emperor, Kei Akagi, a few others.
Woolly Mammoth Hot Water. Woolly Mammoth Hot Water makes me think that like if we had woolly mammoths, we'd make hot dogs out of them, and there'd be woolly mammoth hot dog water.
I mean, we would probably find some way to ruin it. There'd be like woolly mammoth spam or something.
No, woolly mammoth tail butt plugs, man.
Oh God, I'm pretty sure those already exist. I mean, there's a market for everything.
Oh, dude, there is. You just gotta fucking find it. Everything. Yeah. No, but to go back to the gin thing, fucking have you ever read 1001 Arabian Nights or the Arabian Nights or whatever?
I mean, a really long time ago. It's been a super long time. So just talk to me like I've never.
Okay, so pretty much what it is there's this dude, and he's, the Sultan, and his whole thing is like his wife dies, and he wants a new bride. But everybody he marries, pretty much he just like, marries them, fucks them, has them executed the next morning, and he like pretty much depletes his sultanate, I guess.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck you would call his territory, kingdom, whatever it was. But he hooks up with the Grand Vizier's daughter, and she comes up with this cunning plan, which I'm going to tell you like half of the story.
That much I remember. remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to kill you now because I need to know what the rest of the story was. You know, she drags it out for at least 1,001 nights. So like she's got a good 4 years maybe. But all those short stories, like a lot of them are bombs. And actually, I'm sure they're good, but I don't have enough of a cultural understanding of fucking 4th century Iraq to get the story. But you know, there are some other ones that are just fucking amazing. Like there's this guy, right? And he's a fisherman. And he goes out every day and he fishes. And you know, he's got like a starving family, and all he really wants is to just bring like 5 fucking fish back so he can feed his family that night. Like that's his like drive in life. And like he goes out one day and he pulls up this pot, and it's got a bunch of dirt in it. He says, "Fuck this," throws his net back in. Pulls it back up, and there's like a dead donkey in it. He's like, "Oh, this is fucking great." Well, I've only got enough time to like do this one more time. So, you know, he prays to Allah. He's like, "Hey, I need something good. Help me out, God." So he throws his net out again, and there's big like brass golden jar comes out. It's not big, but you know, like you wrap your arms around it. And on top of it, it's got the seal of Solomon. And he's like, "Well, I don't know what that is. I don't get down with this Hebrew shit." And it says warning, but one of the Jews know, right? So you know, he rips the top off, and this djinn comes out, and this thing is so big that it like covers the entire fucking sky, turns everything black, like bad guy in a Disney movie level shit, right? And the djinn's like, "Dude, I've been down there for like 500 years. the first 50 years, I was like, hey, dude, whoever gets out, I'm gonna give them anything they want, because I'm a genie. I can give you wishes. I can grant you shit. I'll do that." 50 years goes by, another 50 years goes by. He's like, I'm kind of bitter about this, but I really want to get out. So, you know, it works its way up to, you know, 3 wishes. And then eventually it's like, you know what? I've had enough. Whoever lets me out, I'm just going to kill him. Fuck it. And then, you know, another 50, 100 years goes by. He's like, all right, I'm going to kill them. I got to kill them, but I'll at least let them choose how they die. So this fisherman's there with this genie up there. And the genie's like, how do you want to die? And the guy's like, what do you mean? Genie explains all this. And he's like, oh, well, how about instead of giving me the choice to die, you just answer any question for me? And then Genie's like, okay, sure, fuck it, whatever. What do you want to know? And the guy's like, well, where did you come from? He's like, I came from that pot. And the fisherman's like, no, you didn't. That pot's like this big. You're in charge of the entire sky. You cannot fit into here. And the Genie's like, yeah, I can. And the fisherman's like, no, dude, you can't, because I might be a dumb fucking fisherman from Lebanon, but I know how mass works. So the Genie's like, all right, cool. Check it out. I'm going to go back in the pot, show you can get in there, and then I'm going to come out. I'm going to fucking kill you. So Genie goes down to the pot. Fisherman puts the lid back on, wraps around it, throws it back into the ocean, and then he goes home without any fish. Like, it's a fucking terrible story. The dude doesn't even get to fucking feed his family at the end of the day. Goes through all that. Can't feed his family.
That's a brilliant story, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a Terry Gilliam like kind of story, like Time Bandits or something, where I mean, yeah, nothing really changes by the ending other than just somebody just survives an absolutely impossible situation that affects absolutely nothing about their life.
Hold on, Sultanite, a glowing rock that kills Arabian monarchs. I mean, I can half deal with that, but only if we're going to use the broader term for Arab, not just the fuckers down on the peninsula thing.
Oh, you mean like Gulf and Levant distinguishment and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you talk to Iraqis, like, I am not Arab, I am Iraqi, or I am.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have like people like at my church, and you know, and in my family, like, you know, I have people who are like Lebanese or Palestinian and stuff, and a lot of them, like they'll think of themselves as Phoenician first in some cases. There's actually a really good shawarma joint in San Marcos you should go to sometime. I was down there and I was looking at the menu while I'm waiting, and I look on the back and it's got this like really cool, like, you know, here's like a list of facts about Lebanon. And I'm like, okay, I'll give this a read while I'm waiting for my shawarma. And it, you know, has some interesting tidbits, like Lebanon has the most popular ski resorts in the Middle East. Lebanon has the most churches per capita of any country in the Middle East.
Well, I mean, that would be churches and mosques too, because there's a lot of Christians in Lebanon, right?
Oh yeah, lots. But and this is a really cool one. Ancient Lebanese sailors were the ones to first discover the New World and make peaceful contact with the Mesoamericans. And long, you know, basically in like Phoenician Proto-Greek times or something like that.
Yeah.
Like biblical times. So, I don't know.
There's two things with that. Like, mummies all had cocaine in them, and that wasn't native to Africa, so they had to get it from somewhere. So I'm happy with that. And then if you've read, oh crap, it wasn't in the Republic, but one of the things Plato was writing about, there was a Egyptian priest and some Greek guy, and they were talking about how like the Mycenaeans like saved the world, and by the world, the Mediterranean, from the Atlanteans, but in doing so, Atlantis crushed Greece, which is what led to the late Bronze Age collapse. And the Greeks are older than they'll ever know, but they know nothing because their history got destroyed. It's like, well, I mean,
I personally, I totally believe that kind of stuff, generally speaking. I mean, I think human history is a lot weirder and older than we give it credit to. And, the people who kind of fill in the gaps and say like, oh, either everybody, before 2010 was a primitive idiot and we're so smart and enlightened, or it was aliens that did all this advanced stuff, which, I think both are BS attitudes. I think that, ancient people were a lot smarter than we give them credit for. We just do not have the perspective to understand, the clues of what they left behind.
Well, I mean that, and like if you didn't write it down in a rock, it would go away. Because
that's the thing. Like even aluminum, like gets reclaimed by the earth, within a few thousand years. So you got to think like if the only thing that's going to survive, like I don't know, 10,000 years really is solid stone, really.
Yeah, no, and the other thing though too is like what the Ice Age ended like what 15,000 years ago ish.
Yeah, the Younger Dryas. I think.
And like back then, there was a lot more glaciers and stuff, but a lot more of the ocean water was in those glaciers. Like where England is now used to be the middle of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more and more science coming out that's saying that wasn't a gradual glacier melting where like instead of this took 1,000 years, like there's more and more evidence that comes out where it's saying this took like 5 months.
Yeah.
There was some cataclysmic shit happening when this went down, which if a lot more landmass, like there's no Gulf of Mexico, like there's no English Channel, there's not really much for Mediterranean. And then all of a sudden that shit gets wiped out. Like there's stuff that comes up like every 2 or 3 months where they find a new city 30 miles off the coast of Europe or Africa. And it's like, hey guys.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's not cool for like mainstream scientists or experts to talk about this stuff because it's seen as like, oh, that's like History Channel weirdo type stuff.
Yeah.
Their brains are so calcified that they just don't want to accept anything that might disrupt their career. Basically, that's why I like guys like Graham Hancock and dudes like that who, I mean, I don't agree with all of his theories, but I think generally speaking that Atlantis was real.
Yeah.
There was some kind of massive flood cataclysm probably around the end of the Younger Dryas period. I mean, it is no coincidence that every major human civilization has a catastrophic flood story in its mythology. Even like the Hopi Indians, who like they lived in like the middle of the freaking southwestern desert. Where did they get a flood story from?
Well, one of the things I think is weird about that though too, to kind of veer off a little bit, is I don't remember if it was the Hopi, but it was one of the southwestern native tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And not per se they're gods, but like I guess some higher beings that they interacted with back in the day. They called them the sky people, but in their language it was Anunnaki, sky people.
Oh, and, I'm familiar.
Yeah, and it's like
why? Wait, isn't that Sumerian or am I?
It's both.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. It's like, why would you two people have the same word for sky people, and why do they show up at about the same time as you wrote this down? Weird. I mean, I was
just about to say. I mean, like, I personally don't think it was necessarily like aliens or something. Is probably, like a lost advanced race or something like that. That I think that the Earth contains a lot more than we think it really does. Like,
Well, one of the other things too is like, what is it? There's a lot of old maps, like the older accurate-ish maps. Like they're not super accurate. But they're like, hey, this, and that, whatever. But there's a few of them that have Antarctica in it, and
those are incredible.
Yeah, and Antarctica wasn't found for like 300 years after these maps were made. But in these maps, Antarctica is an archipelago, which science didn't acknowledge that till the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, what's up with this, man?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you even just like look at stories about like the earliest European contacts with the New World, basically, and how, like in the Amazon, for example. Gosh, I'm trying to remember which unfortunate Spaniard this was who they took their boats basically down. I think it was like the Amazon River, basically, and and they described this was like one of the earliest contacts. This was before Cortez was even on the scene.
Oh, so it's like year 5.
Yeah, basically. They went down the Amazon and they reported, encountering like these massive imperial cities full, just teeming with millions of people and stuff. And, and then I think, eventually they made it back out. Like, from what I understand, like their contact wasn't hostile. It was just completely mystifying and confusing for everyone involved. Like, they actually would stop at some of these ports to interact with the natives and get trinkets and stuff like that. And when they brought their findings back to Europe, like, everyone was astonished. But then a while, like I think it was like probably decades later, when the next Europeans would touch the Amazon, it was nothing but pure jungle. And so everybody just kind of dismissed this voyage as a bunch of BS. Well, I think it was, someone in the chat said Francisco de Orellana. I think that was him. That name does sound really familiar. But people don't take into account like how fast the rainforest will reclaim something as soon as human activity stops. So you got to think that the people that they contacted probably got disease from them, or maybe they got it from other tribes that were getting in contact with the Spaniards on the coast or something. So there's if you consider like just how quickly like whole cities can just vanish depending on the climate like that, like just imagine what can happen in 5,000 years on the low end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you don't even have to look that far for that, because like there's a lot of shit from as recently as World War II, like the islands in the Pacific where the Japanese would go hold up, and now they're jungle again. And it's like, I saw a documentary once or twice. I don't know where the fuck it was though, but they went on to this island. I think it was in the Solomons, and they had pictures from when the Marines were there. Bare island, just desert with a couple bunkers and shit on it. And when they went back, jungle. The trees were bigger than they were supposed to be for only being however the fuck you're 50 years old, and they had to like look for stuff, and they didn't even find what the fuck they were looking for. They just found a bunch of other stuff,
Oh wow!
But yeah, the jungle.
I'm getting a little bit of connection lag. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. You're lagging on my end, but I think I hear you all right.
You're glitching out.
Oh, damn it. Let's give it a second. I mean, I can hear you okay. I'll lower my video bit rate a little bit.
I think you're back. Blink. There you go.
All right. Yeah, blink if you're being tortured. Okay.
All right.
I think I got it. All right, cool.
Shit.
So anyways, for my crew that's all in the chat here, they don't actually know much about you. So they already know who I am, but since I do have a bunch of newcomers that are in here, go ahead and tell them like what you do. They're telling me that you froze up, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean, it might be me. I live out in the sticks, so I mean, it could be.
I don't know. I mean, I see you just fine.
Yeah.
I'll just tell them to refresh.
No, that might be it. And then Nate's saying it's both, but yeah, no, friggin' me. Yeah, I'm the original Florida man, and by original Florida man, I mean I'm from Florida. Um, done some dumb stuff, but haven't quite made it in the news for anything stupid yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed at some of the stuff, like from what I remember of at Quantico and stuff, like some of the things you got away with.
Yeah. What is it? I was in the Marines for a while. That's where I met Lodge. In Quantico. Um, what is it? I was a photographer. Well, actually, I technically wasn't a photographer. I was an illustrator, and then I was a videographer. However, I almost never did anything besides photo because
It's funny how that works out. Yeah.
yeah, because the Marine Corps is fucking stupid. I've written a few books. I think I got 6 out now. I'm working on the 8th one at the moment because I want to release the 6th, 7th, and 8th like a couple weeks apart, to ride the algorithm because apparently that works better. But with the books, you get a story in them, and then varying levels of illustrations, and then there's also a soundtrack I put in with them, and there's like the music in the back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but like it's hold on, let me grab one real quick.
Oh, sweet.
Hold on.
Yeah, everybody, you all need to go buy his books off Amazon right now.
Oh, where are you?
If you don't find Tripp's books, I'm gonna find you.
No, but like I also got like it's got the actual music and like guitar tab in there. So like if you can't read music,
Oh, sweet.
Tab, then
You can literally have one person reading the book while somebody else is playing guitar.
Yeah.
Like that's a very bardic approach of you to do.
Yeah. And then what is it? There's also a soundtrack you can get on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, but there's like 3 versions of each song because like I'm confident as a musician. I fucking hate my voice though. So it's like, here's all these songs with me singing. Here's all these songs, the instrumental version, just in case you hate my voice as much as I hate my voice. Have fun, kids. But
so like what are the books like generally about if you were to summarize them, like to pitch them?
So summarize them. The actual story isn't about really anything. However, so like the first book, it's about a Marine and a corpsman and their assholes in Oceanside being Lance Corporal dumbass, right? Pretty much me. I know your guys don't know who I am, but the kind of shenanigans I would get into in Quantico, but worse.
Yeah,
I was a drunk dumb Lance Corporal they're both dating strippers that hang out or that both work at the local strip club. Actually, one of them's name was Reagan, by the way.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well,
I think I remember that when I was flipping through one of the stories. I was like, wait a second.
The strippers were part of the presidential ensemble. So there was, Reagan and Kennedy and Ford, Nixon and Bush. And they bemoaned Bush because, her name was Bush, but she didn't have any pubic hair. So it's like work with the gimmick.
That's false advertising right there.
Yeah. But anyway, they get called back to base one day and they get sent to Iraq because Iran invaded Iraq and they're fighting across, Iraq. And then while they're in a place called Al-Hilya, which is where the actual city of Babylon used to be, they get separated from their platoon. They get stuck underground and they find themselves in this like weird Indiana Jones situation, find like a bunch of gold and like water and like food and shit. And then, eat the food that's down there and accidentally become immortal, but they don't know it. They were just like, dude, I'm fucking hungry. I haven't eaten in fucking 2 days. Let's go for it. They keep fighting the war. They get like really fucked up and wounded and get sent back to like Bethesda, but they're like in a coma for like a year and a half. And then when they wake up, there's kind of like an alien nation thing kind of going on where like aliens have landed, but like they weren't there for it. They just like see it on the news and like, dude, what the fuck? Like, A, why are there aliens? B, why do you have an iPhone 2? When did they make a fucking second iPhone? The main character ends up marrying one of the aliens. And then and the aliens are literally just like, they have green skin. They have a lot of freckles, but their freckles aren't what we would call freckles. They look like freckles, but they photosynthesize.
Okay.
So plant, and then they like live for like 2,000 years, which is important later. So second book, they go on a training mission to Latvia, and like they're trying to test out like all this new alien technology they have, to like try to integrate it with the Marines shit. But not all the aliens went to America. A lot of them went to Russia. So while they're in Latvia on a training mission, Russia says, "Hey, fuck it, we're taking Europe." And the rest of the second book is them fighting the Russians in East Europe.
The Russians who are also being like bossed around, like ordered around by the aliens.
They're not the aliens around. Oh. The aliens are refugees, but they're like, "Hey, dude, if you give us like your 40 acres and a mule, we'll show you how to make giant robots." And like the second one's based pretty heavily off the Iliad, but instead of arrows and daggers and spears, it's guns. And instead of the gods coming down to like fix shit or fuck somebody up, the giant robot comes down and wreaks havoc. The third book, pretty much what happens is it picks up immediately after the second book, and they're just stuck in Russia, and like they've seen the enemy in like weeks, and they haven't heard from command in weeks, so they send a convoy to like Germany to like figure out what the fuck's coming up, what's going on. The convoy comes back with a bunch of radiation poisoning, and they're like, "Oh, so somebody flipped the button. Cool." And then everybody's like, "Hey, so not every man for himself. We're just gonna break it down to the platoon level. There's honor working with you guys. Hope you make it home." So the third book is like 12 dudes just trying to get back to California from St. Petersburg.
And this is part of the Smokepit Fairy Tales series.
Yes. That one's in the Paragon of Man. They're working their way back to whatever, and then the fourth one, it picks up like 30 years later, and it centers around the main character's son, who is a Marine on Mars. And pretty much what happened is like when everybody like nuked everything, the aliens were like, "Hey, thanks for letting us stay here. Let's get a bunch of you guys off the planet," and they like declare Earth like a dead zone. So the Russians set up on Venus. America is like on Mars. The Chinese are out on Saturn, and like there's a bunch of colonies all over the place, and they're still in a naval war with the Russians. Although technically that one's an anti-romance is what I like to call it, because while there is stuff about them fighting the naval war against the space Russians, a lot of it is just barracks drama. Where it's like, "Hey, what's going on?" But that chick in S1 is fucking my shit up right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, and then then the fifth one, after the battle that happens at the end of the fourth one, the main character gets a field promotion, and he gets promoted to lieutenant, but he gets sent to headquarters Marine Corps that's on New Annapolis, on Mars. And while he's at pretty much the new Pentagon, the commandant of the Marine Corps throws a coup and has everybody in the chain of succession above him, the president, killed, and kind of like seizes the throne pretty much. And the main characters know that's wrong, but technically that's legal, but at the same time they have to like prove that he did it. So it's kind of like a political thriller. And then the way they end up winning is they have to do some stuff that exposes what happened, but also makes them criminals. So in the sixth book, they're like, "Hey, we can't go anywhere. Let's just go be space pirates."
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and then like the sixth one, I think that one's my best work, and I kind of lament over it because I don't know if I'm ever going to write anything that's better than that. The thing is like you have to read the other five to like get it.
Yeah.
But that one's kind of like for inspiration, I took Macbeth and Blackbeard, the pirate, and I was like, "All right, let's mix these together and put you in space with aliens. Let's go."
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, there's the pitch for the Smokepit Fairy Tales series. I put a link in the chat there for the first one, so go check it out. Go buy it.
You're awesome. Thanks, man.
Good quality stuff. Yeah, you gotta show you gotta know how to pitch your stuff and hustle it. You've got the carnival barker instinct down like I do too. You just gotta keep at it.
Well, it's funny though, is like if we're gonna talk about fan base, like I don't have a huge fan base, but I do have like at least 50 people that are really stabby and passionate. And it's like, I don't know if it's good, but you know what? Hey, fuck it.
Yeah, there's I can't remember the number he gave. There's this guy named Paul Wagner who talks a lot about like brand building and stuff like that. And he said something like if you have like 100 people who are just fanatically dedicated enough to give you like to pay for $1,000 a year in some kind of product, that's $100,000 you make right there. Or if you have 1,000 people who are willing to give you, hold on, I need to make sure I passed math for Marines. You get the idea. It basically, yeah, I suck at math. I used to be able to do this like mentally easily, but basically, like if you can just do the math for whatever it takes, like okay, if I want to make $100,000 a year or $50,000 because you live in somewhere in like the sticks out in Pennsylvania or something, right?
I'm in the sticks, and by sticks I mean like I'm on an acre with my house was about 2,200 square feet. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it was 80 grand.
Oh my gosh, I hate you. I'm in
nowhere.
California.
I'm in nowhere.
You're lucky if you can find like a surf shack here for like 500 grand. It's crazy. But as I was saying, yeah, like you've got a product and a brand that nobody else really has.
Yeah.
So what it really comes down to is just finding who is your type of audience and how can you maintain like a loyalty in a relationship with them. Yeah. That's the thing. It's not about like having the biggest audience, although that does definitely help with like, viral type of campaigns. But the problem with viral success is
it's fleeting.
When it happens, it totally is. So, for example, like my friend Ethan Nicole, the guy who made Axe Cop, that webcomic a while back, and then it got picked up.
I like that.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people like probably don't remember it now, but it's like because that was like 2008 or 9ish, I think it is when it took off, something like that. And then it got picked.
I found it on the internet like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. But yeah, but then it got picked up for like a TV show. Like it went viral basically. And like Ethan, like when I knew him as he was making this, like he was originally just doing it just to have fun with his younger brother who was like 5.
Yeah.
And he was just like drawing stuff that his brother was telling him. So
all bad guys stole my friends.
Yeah. It's like all about just this policeman, like this like cartoon 80s policeman with shades and a mustache and the peaked cap and everything. And he has a hatchet that he fights evil with.
Dude, and like absurd shit happens. And like they took a monster truck to the moon so they could put dinosaurs in a bad guy's brain. It's like, yes.
It's like, I mean, now people would look at that and be like, that style of humor, that's so 2000s and stuff. But it's like for that time, like that was absolutely hilarious. It's still funny to me. But he had like but when I knew him, like he was like living in some crazy cat lady's attic in Pasadena. Like he had gout. He was living it. One of my friends went to go check on him once, and like he was like bedridden with gout, surrounded by jars of his own urine and stuff. Like he was in a tough spot.
Yeah, that's bad.
And then he got like then the 2008 like market collapse happened. Everybody got laid off from work, and like so he lost a job. He lost 2 jobs as he was going back to visit his family in Oregon, and he was working on Axe Cop, and just this like family fun project of his became a viral success overnight. Now he was a bit lucky in that he was able to kind of ride that wave and then use it to kind of like gain momentum to ride the next wave, because he was luckily he was close with Doug TenNapel, Earthworm Jim guy, and so a few others who could tell him like, okay, here's what you need to do to just kind of make sure you don't become like one of those has-beens, And so he was able, he got the TV show deal with Fox Animation or something.
I think so. I watched something it on Hulu or Amazon. So.
Yeah, and so like he understood that like the viral success was going to be an overnight thing, and that whatever was going to come next, he couldn't. You can't count on creating the same lightning in a bottle every time. Yeah. You kind of have to do the slow grind. And if you do happen to hit like a crazy, like dynamite sensation, then you just kind of use that to bring in an audience that you'll be able to hang on to. Because 90% of them are just going to be like, oh, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And then they'll forget about it a week later. Yeah. So you need to find out who are those, who is that, I don't know, 2 to 5% that are going to be like your fanatical loyalists who will stick with you no matter what crazy crap happens, because it will happen. You'll get canceled at some point. It's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you've got like, you know, your fedayeen, you know, kind of like how Saddam had his.
No, I got this thing where like I found out that just trying to like take pictures for fucking Instagram, that like all 6 of my books fit nice in a fucking 50 caliber ammo can. So
I saw that. Yeah, that's really good marketing.
Yeah, no. So what I do with that though is, you know, I throw all 6 books in there, and then like a patch and like stickers and like postcards and shit. And then everybody that buys one of those boxes, I keep their address, and then like every time I make like a new batch, I'll make a new postcard for those, and then I'll send everyone that bought a box in the past that new postcard. So it's like, oh hey, you bought a box a year ago? Well, here's your postcard, buddy.
Oh, nice. See, that's good. That's good. Like that maintains like a, you know, relationship with your, you know, your audience base. I don't usually use the term customer because it just, I don't know, it's a little bit too transactional. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you can't pretend to be friends with everybody, but you kind of have to have a system of like, I don't know, there has to be some kind of relationship that's more than just transactional, but you're also not faking buddiness either.
No, because like the other thing though too is like I guess like my main push is on Instagram, because like Facebook fucking sucks. And
yeah, I don't understand. Like there's some people who like they really hit gold with Facebook. Like Doug TenNapel, he swears by it. Like he tells me that like
Doug TenNapel's been around since the 80s. Like
but it's, I don't know. He's got like, but he's also like totally boomer brained.
Yeah,
and I'm not. That's not to rag on him. Like he'll be the first to say that if you ever talk to him, and. You know, so he has people who like, you know, figure out this marketing stuff for him. I don't know. He tells me that Facebook is where he hits gold, but for me, it's like, I don't know. I'm too millennial minded for it. Yeah. Like Facebook is like, that's where I just go to just see if like any of my either like my redneck or Indian reservation friends from home, you know, or have a get together going, or it's like, you know, I want to see who's having kids, you know, who's having a barbecue, that kind of thing.
No, but I was saying with that though is like one of the reasons I started doing this podcast thing was I originally what I did for I want to say a good year or two was I would just go on Instagram Live and like be on live for like 4 hours a night, like on Saturday night, just like drinking bullshit with whoever. And it's like, dude, whoever showed up, hey dude, you're in the thing, we'll chit chat. And then like I'm really open to fucking people where it's like, you know, if you fucking text me or message me or DM me or whatever the hell it's called, like I'll talk to you, you know? Like I'm not gonna be like right back and like giving you like life advice and shit. It's like, dude, what's going on? How you doing? You know, what's up? So like not to be shallow, but you know.
Right. Like, yeah, Instagram is weird. Like I don't it's like it has that whole like building a ship inside a bottle kind of feeling to use it. It's like
no idea how the fuck they do that.
Yeah, but it's like this whole feeling of like, oh god, I've got to like compose a post. I've got to do just the right hashtags, but I can't reuse the same hashtags or else Instagram will flag me as a bot account and throttle everything. And it's like, you know, it's like I'll spend like 10 hours doing an amazing comic page and I'll post that and it'll get some engagement or something. Then meanwhile, some artist like will just like draw some, you know, some copy and pasted like fan art or something like that and get just boom, like 12,000 followers overnight. And I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of accept that everything is just going to be a slow dungeon crawl through anything. And if you do happen to hit some kind of like crazy, you know, viral thing that just takes off, great. But the only way it's going to happen is if you just keep rolling the dice.
Oh yeah, dude. It's a slow burn, definitely. Like one of the things that bothers me the most about it though is like, you know, I'll do something like I'll make a piece of art, like I'll put 30 man hours into something, post it up. Here's all 20 of your likes. Here's a selfie I took in the bathroom at my shop when I was 19 on my Razor flip phone. Here's 300 likes. It's like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
exactly. It's completely mystifying. Twitter is a little bit more transparent. You can kind of follow the breadcrumbs to feel like, okay, this post blew up big because this account here that has 50,000 followers retweeted it. Okay,
Yeah.
that you can see why there. Whereas with Instagram, it's totally opaque, and Facebook is just a cluttered mess, and not even in the nostalgic Web 1.0 kind of way.
Now, like the biggest problem I have with fucking Twitter though is like I'll follow somebody for whatever the fuck reason, but then Twitter will show me everything that that person follows. Also, it's like, oh, hey, since you follow them, they liked this. It's like I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I somehow my feed does not do that to me, and I'm not sure why that is. I mean, I usually browse it on desktop, and I use Brave browser, which has a pretty robust ad blocker. It just, I don't know, it trims a lot of the fat out of a lot of social media interaction. I never have to deal with YouTube ads, for example.
Dude, nice, dude.
It's great.
That's another thing. Fucking like, everybody's like, dude, you gotta just take out an ad or whatever. Get you some exposure. It's like, dude, every time I see an ad, all that does is make me not buy whatever's in the fucking ad.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
there's this one that's been on for fucking months, and it's this new soap, and it's this guy's like, oh, your soap sucks, man. It's like, I'm never buying that.
Yeah.
I'll go fucking crush the grass in my backyard and make a fucking paste out of it before I buy that shit now.
Oh yeah. Some people in the chat are saying like Tommy Allen saying Twitter's annoying but necessary. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Like a lot of people say like, oh, get off Twitter, it's a cesspool. I'm like, yeah, it's a cesspool, but everybody else is bathing in it, and it's like
Right.
it's kind of what's there for right now. But it's like,
you could have absolutely no fucking talent, what the fuck ever, and just by putting up either fun or controversial tweets, get yourself up to 100,000 fucking followers.
oh yeah, it's true. I mean that's
you and be like, hey, do you want to write a book?
yeah. It's that's the thing. Another thing is, I mean, I noticed like a lot of artists who's, how do I put it? They're lacking in the visual storytelling component. They realize a quick way to gain a ton of clout is to I don't know, just write on the call out train or whatever, cancel somebody or I don't know, just ride whatever political wave is going on at the moment, and just milk that for all it's worth. But I don't even know if that even translates to much monetarily. I mean, I see people who are like banging good artists, and you look at their crowdfunding campaigns, they're making tons of money, like millions and stuff. It's crazy. But a lot of the people with they might post art once a month, but it's like you have to sort through a bunch of just angry posts about just how the world is on fire and stuff.
Right.
And it's like,
dude, and there's like so many people now that like they're only relevant because they are creative in how they say fuck Donald Trump. And it's like, okay, first off, like
it's like everybody's trying to do the same Jon Stewart or Stephen Colbert thing from the 2010s. It's like, look, it's boring as hell to me. It's like, like in my case, like I just don't engage with political stuff online because it's like it finds you no matter where you're at, right. No matter what. It's like that. Like I always tell people, like in my live streams and stuff, we don't fuss and cuss about current events and politics and stuff because it's like you're hit with that fire hose 24/7 everywhere else.
Yeah.
So sue me if I don't want to bring it into my Discord or my live stream or something like that. And I want to provide for myself in my audience, an altered time and place experience, with a story that they can't get out in the real world, you know? And but there's just some people who like, they're miserable and they thrive on helping you be miserable with them. It's that whole like crabs in a bucket kind of
the crabs hate the crab that's getting out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or psychic vampires, that kind of thing. It's like there's just people who just hate seeing other people either just kind of like enjoying life to some degree or even making a little bit of success.
Yeah, dude, you're bringing up in the chat right now with the whole thing where it's like, dude, you could not like the guy, whatever your fucking political fucking thing is, but it's so fucking oversaturated that it's like,
Yeah.
cool, I haven't heard this joke 15 times the fucking day.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The orange man is bad.
Yeah, seriously. And and on the flip side, like there's a even though like I definitely lean on to the conservative side, and like it's like, look, I mean, we like guns and Marine stuff and all that don't tread on me kind of stuff, but it's like at the same time, it's like, yeah, there's also like people in like the kind of like the Trump sycophant kind of sphere who just like they'll put out art and stuff, but it's like it's just the most boring, like smug, like Q cartoons kind of crap. And it's like, nobody is going to look at any of this stuff in 5 years and laugh at it or have a good time with it. They're going to look at it and be like, "Ooh, it's kind of old and cringe." Unless you're doing something like really like timelessly funny, like this artist named Timothy Lim, who's like he does this thing where he basically like combines like My Hero Academia, which is like, it's like some anime or something, but he like takes
but it's about like an actual gym class.
What was that?
It's like a
it's like an anime high school drama or something. I've never watched it. I've just kind of like osmosed it. But then he like takes like Trump and Pence and inserts them into it. It's like very Monty Python. It's like it's not really partisan comedy. It's just using the personalities at the time to like tell a funny joke. It's kind of like that feeling you got with like old school Saturday Night Live or In Living Color or Mad TV, But all this other other than that, like the vast majority of the stuff that is just so hinged on whatever's happening in the current year, it's like, yeah, I don't know, it might land a few laughs and a few punches right now, but it's like 10 years from now, is anyone going to read it and like have a life-changing experience the way they would from, I don't know, reading Dune or Amulet by Kazuki Bushi or
any of the Miyazaki stuff?
Oh yeah, the Miyazaki stuff especially. Like, yeah.
Well, the other thing too is like I guess for the individual user, that also depends on your audience's other interests, because like what is it when what's her name, Kathy Gifford, she like cut off Donald Trump's head, like she got like a mannequin of him and cut off his head. It's like,
yeah, I think I vaguely remember that was like what, 2016?
Yeah, it was like right after the election or some shit. But I was like, wait a minute, Guar did this 6 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that too. And it's like, I mean, okay, I guess I understand like why people are getting bent out of shape about like, oh, this is threatening violence against the president. But it's like still, it's like I grew up listening to Guar and Gigi Allen, Wesley Willis, and it's like, I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like edgy. It's like, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, when Guar cut Donald Trump's head off his mannequin, they also raped Hillary Clinton. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, they've decapitated like every president since Ronald Reagan, I think, including Obama. It's like, look, they were equal opportunity assassins.
Yeah, and they fucking rock, by the way.
Oh yeah, I've told you that I met Dave Brokey, Odorous, numerous times when I lived in Richmond.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy. I bumped into him a couple times when I was at this. Oh wait, no, you went there with me. Fallout. That goth dive bar. We went there for their pirate night, and you had like one of the best costumes there.
Well, I mean, like, so I came back from my second deployment. I'm single and didn't spend any money on deployment money. So I'm like, well, I mean, I'm 21, 22. I got to spend this on something stupid. So I'm going to get like an actual reenactor pirate fucking thing. Like, dude, I still have that coat. That coat is fucking warm as shit. I still wear it. Dude, it's like wool, like half-inch thick fucking wool.
Oh, Christina Wheeler is in the chat, aka O'Nizzle.
Hey, what's up? No, but speaking of band stuff, though, have you ever listened to Necrogoblicon?
No, but I'm already into it just based off the band name.
So pretty much what it is, like they were around for like 5 or 6 years, just like playing fucking, like heavy metal. And it's weird because like it's one of those bands where it's like I would love this if they had a different lead singer, because I don't like the shit. But like after they were around for like 5 or 6 years, like we need a gimmick. So they hired a guy to dress like a fucking goblin. and just like be on stage. And then like they started making music videos, but the music videos weren't about the band. It was about like the Goblin, but like the Goblin was like an alcoholic and like had an office job and like hated his boss. And then like when he went to bars, he couldn't pick up chicks. Like, and like they fucking just threw money at the costume department because like you look at pictures of John Goblikon of Necrogoblikon.
Okay, how do you spell that out? Because Tommy Allen's asking in the chat. He wants a link.
It's NEKROGOBLIKON. They have a fucking amazing music video. I don't remember if it's No One Survives or No One Gets Out. But if you just go to fucking YouTube and look up Necrogoblikon, then music videos come up. Although there will be a TV show that comes up too, because they have like they haven't been doing it recently, but they have like a kind of like a podcast type, thing, but it's kind of set up to be like a talk show, but the Goblin is like running it, and he's just like asking fucking like stupid questions. Like there'll be like some like a chick on the show who's like, oh yeah, so where are you from? Yeah, what's your name? What's your phone number? Oh, okay, all right, well, blah blah, whatever. Oh, by the way, we didn't get you to sign the because you know how contracts are when you come on a show, so I'm gonna just put your name and your phone number there. It's like the chick will be like, that's the script. It's like, oh well, I mean, this is a special Goblin thing. This is just how we do it,
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check them out. I've been listening to a lot of Bal Sagoth lately. I think I sent you. I think I've sent you some of their stuff. They're like, I mean, listening to them, it's like Warhammer 40K the musical or something.
Oh, nice.
Like that.
No,
you would like them.
I usually listen to most of the stuff you sent me because like you got me into Laserhawk.
Laserhawk, yeah, probably Man of War is as well. Yeah, we listen to like tons of like that synthwave stuff in my live streams because most of those artists like they support live streamers and they let people play their music and all that.
I know that. That's nice. Them and what's the other one? Carpenter Brut.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorites. Dude. Holy crap.
There's somebody on YouTube that took all of their songs and then like did the mashup thing to where it's like Carpenter Brut's music but Metallica lyrics on top of it. Like they did one with Hang 'em, was it Hang 'em All or Hang 'em High? But
Hang 'em All, yeah. That's my favorite. I mean, that's everybody's favorite Carpenter Brut song probably.
But they pulled the lyrics out of Master of Puppets and put that on top of it.
Oh wow.
Oh dude, it is fucking like I don't listen to either one of those songs anymore. I just listen to the mashup because it's like, nah, this is the best of all of it.
Oh jeez. Oh, Tommy Allen is saying, since you're reading my comics, talk Tripp into Discord.
Isn't Discord just like a fucking chat thing though?
Yeah, it is. It's a really good way to like manage a community, like an audience though. Like I don't know if you follow like, do you know who Dick Masterson is, for example?
I know who he is. I'm not.
You would like him. Like you and him are very similar in a lot of ways. He's an internet comedian with it. He's he looks kind of like you but Mexican. And he has like he has one of the hugest foreheads I've ever seen. But he runs
like a 6 or a 7 head then.
A 6 or a 7 head. Oh man. Probably, I don't know, 7, I guess.
All right.
I have to get out my skull measuring calipers. But like Discord, it's a great way to just, have somewhere to park your more involved audience members in one spot where they can kind of mingle and network with each other. Okay. And you can have an easy way to interact with them too.
That doesn't sound like a good idea though, because like I was doing that with the other like I guess the indie smaller authors community on Instagram, which is a fucking mess to try to do on that kind of fucking platform. So
yeah, Discord, it's way easier because it's like you can have your voice chats, your chat chats. You can even do like shared like watch parties and stuff in one spot. It's really good, and like you can just start small and just kind of get the feel for it, and then slowly scale up from there as you get more and more familiar with running it. And it doesn't require a ton of work. Like mine, for example, is pretty. It kind of runs itself because I have it behind a pretty soft paywall where it's like, if you subscribe to me on Twitch which is like, if you're using Amazon Prime, it costs you nothing.
Yeah.
If you join my Patreon or subscribe, it's $3 a month. It's like the price of a cup of coffee. And then you get access to the Discord. So that kind of like, that serves as its own like quality filter just to kind of keep the weirdos and the trolls out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a good place to kind of like keep things under one roof where, you know, the people who are like really, really invested in whatever it is you're doing have an easy way to reach you. And, you know, they've got like some kind of skin in the game because, you know, they either supported you through Patreon or they bought your book or that's one way you could do it. It's like, if people buy your book, here's a Discord invite code or something like that, you know? So it's like right there, it's like you're kind of establishing a shared, you know, a bunch of people under one roof with a shared common interest and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another, just something to consider too.
All right.
And if you ever need any help with it, I can help you set it up. It's really not that complicated once you just get past the initial setup.
Yeah, no, because like I think I downloaded the app and gone into a couple of them, but they were all just like screaming teenagers, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, fine. I mean, public discords as a general thing are like public restrooms in San Diego. You know, it's not worthwhile, but like, you know, a more private or semi-private or invite-only Discord. Right. Yeah, that's when you get a little bit more into the gentleman's cigar lounge kind of way of setting things up.
So speaking of gentleman's cigar, though, fucking when I was on my Mew, so I was on ship floating around the Pacific. This would have been 2011 into 12. In the ship's library, there was a book by this Russian dude named Davidov, and it was called The Connoisseur's Guide to Cigars. And it was a really interesting read because, like, the first half of it was cigar etiquette, like what you're supposed to do with a cigar, like what cigar you're supposed to smoke. Apparently, there's this whole thing with this, like, to where your body type goes into the cigar. You get, like, if you're this tall, you should have a cigar that's this long, and if you're this wide or this thin, your cigar should also be this side or this. Like, the shape of the cigar should match your body type, right? If you're tall and thin, have a long thin one. If you're short and fat, have a short fat one. But then the second half of it was, I guess, the history of cigars. And he was a dude that I think Lenin sent him to Cuba. No, it wasn't Lenin. Fuck. Why was I thinking Lenin? Who's the guy after Stalin?
Oh, shoot. I know who you're talking about. His name is escaping.
Was it Khrushchev?
I think it was Khrushchev.
Anyway, Khrushchev sent this guy to fucking Cuba. He's like, hey, listen, Castro's doing this. All these cigar fucking companies are leaving. We're gonna pull a chapter out of the American playbook, and since they're communists now, we're going to have all the cigar companies or all the cigar farms, or all the tobacco farms in Cuba have the Soviets fucking 3 cents in on it. And it was like, hey, this is the reason that the Soviet Union runs fucking Cuban cigars. What's up?
Oh, I had no idea. Mm-hmm. Wait, you said his name was Davidoff?
Davidoff, yeah.
Davidoff. I think there's cigars like named after him.
No, that's his company, because the Soviets let him start his own company. So it's all Cuban tobacco, but it was owned by the Soviet Union. But he was like the company president, whatever the fuck that's worth.
Oh, that's pretty badass.
Yeah,
I tell you that I had two professors who were prior military. One of them was prior Marine. It was this guy named Jorge Benitez, and he was diagnosed with he was telling me about how, like, the VA diagnosed him with PTSD, and he said, I never deployed though, because he was like in during like the late 70s to 80s or something. And they said, well, no, you see, it's from your childhood. And he's like, oh, because he grew up during the Cuban Revolution and all that stuff. The dude was like, you would have, oh my gosh, you would have loved having classes with him. I wish you could have met him. Like, he was like, he rustled some jimmies. I'll just put it that way. But the dude was like a hilarious anti-communist and all this stuff. But he was still like a, you know, like Blue Dog Democrat type dude, you know. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, you know, you had this just kind of murderous hatred of commie stuff that was, you know, that was acceptable around university. But then my other professor, who was prior military, was in my figure drawing class, and his name was Epstein. That's it. It's a Jewish Russian last name.
Yeah.
And this dude lived on nothing but cigarettes and cussing, I think.
I like this fucker already.
Yeah. So like one day while he's like, taking the class attendance, I was about to say roster. He asked me like, Reagan, were you military, man? And I said like, yeah, I was. And I told him, oh yeah, I was in the Marines and stuff. Well, at the time I was still in like the tail end of my time in the reserves. And then like, he asked me a little bit quieter and he's like, what are you ever in Afghanistan? And I said, yeah, I was in Kabul. And he's like, I was in Kabul too. So he was a no joke Red Army paratrooper in the 80s. And so like he came down so hard on me because he knew that I could take it.
Yeah.
And that I would like become a better artist of it. But he was like infamous for his critiques being so brutal that he would cause like students to break down in tears in class. Like I remember one time, like he was just like chewing out this one student, said like, my good man, this does not look like human pelvis. This looks like vampire bat flapping across the page. Or another time he would like stop, and if he walked past you and he stopped suddenly and he looked at you drawing and he walked by and said nothing, that meant you were doing extremely good.
Yeah. But
I remember another time he said like when he was reviewing homework, he would call people over by name and he would usually start it off with something that would clue you into what he was going to tell you. Like I remember one time he called up this one dude, he said like, this guy named Phil, he said, Phil, come here and cry with me. Or another time, I just remember.
Was that a euphemism or like?
No, he was like literally about to say, like, he was about to tell this guy, like, how bad his drawings were.
Oh.
And he told another person, like, my good friend, if this drawing was word would be shit. And then finally, another was, this drawing make me want to take pistol and shoot you and then shoot myself.
Yeah, no, like my first class in college was an art class. And by first, I mean like first semester, like, hey, 9 a.m., whatever day was this. I think it was like concepts of space or concepts of form or some shit. Like pretty much I was like, hey, here's a semester to like teach you perspective, right? And this guy comes in, he's fucking, I don't know, 70, 80 something, like long, curly, white fucking hair, like the John Lennon glasses. And I'm like,
he's got the public university look.
And I'm just like, oh, great. So fucking like, I've been in school for like 3 minutes, right? I'm like, oh, great. So fucking, we're going to get right off the bat with this fucking hippie shit. All right, let's fucking go, right? I was like, oh, hey, everybody, I'm Mike. What's up? How you doing? We're going to teach you today about this and that. And, before I go over the syllabus, I want to tell you about, who I am. And, as soon as I graduated from whatever school it was, I went right into teaching and I've been teaching since, blah, blah, whenever. It's like, I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, cool. I was like, yeah. And, I like this kind of stuff and that kind of stuff. But the thing I'm the most proud of is my dad was the first guy over the Rhine. He was the first American to shoot a German in Germany in World War II.
Wow.
And I'm like, what fucking class am I in right now?
Wow. What year was that in?
Like 2018 when I had that class.
Oh, wow. Man, I'm surprised there's like even professors who like can still get away with saying anything like that.
Yeah. And he like have some like weird shit though, because like I had him for a couple different classes, and I think it was my second year where we were talking about symbology and stuff, and like this dude did not give a shit about whatever because he had tenure and he could say whatever the fuck he wanted.
Oh, that's where the real fun happens.
Oh, dude, and there was two things that came up that were fucking great. The first one, he's going over shit, and like the swastika comes up, and he's like, this is that and whatever. And I remember back in my day when this was just slightly less offensive than a sickle and crosshair or a sickle and hammer. Weird how things change, right, guys? And I was like, okay. But
I mean, don't forget that like drag queens like Sharon Needles would like dress up in like Confederate flag booty shorts,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, or Sid Vicious, and Susie and the Banshees, like they were all sporting, stuff like that to offend the bourgeoisie and whatnot back then.
No, we had some guest speaker come into the university to like give, it's like a random, I want to talk to like everybody wants to show up thing. And, Mike's like, hey man, I want you to go to this speech with me. Cause this guy's talking about art. And I was like, all right, cool. Also, I think it's relevant not to toot my own horn, but I'm the only person that got an A in that class. But, and he was like, yeah, I want you to come to this class with me. All right. Or go to this speech with me. So we go to the speech and this dude's whole speech is why we should be tearing down Confederate monuments. Right. And I'm like, well, I mean, Confederate monuments are sculptures, and this dude does teach sculpting, even though I'm not in a sculpting class, but I don't know why I'm here. Okay, sure, fuck it, whatever. And then this guy starts talking about this other Italian artist that drew or that made a bunch of art for Mussolini, and how all that stuff's like locked up in a cage somewhere in Europe and you can't see it anymore. And then Mike stands up and he's like, hey, I have a question, man. And the guy's like, yeah, what's up? He's like, so they locked all that art up in Europe because they're afraid of people turning into fascists, right? And the guy's like, no one's going to see a piece of art and turn into a fucking fascist. He's like, oh, well, then why are they tearing down all them statues? Are they afraid of people seeing a statue and becoming a racist? And the guy's like looking at him. He's like, I don't know how to answer this question. And then like the not section head. Well, section head is the word I'm looking for, but not the word. The department manager, whatever the fuck you call that in college, is like mean mugging the fuck out of Mike, but fucking the section head, department manager, whatever you fucking call her, is like this like 32-year-old like white chick, and like Mike's like looks over and is like, yeah, I have tenure, and just kind of like walks away. And I'm like, I did not just see that. Did I just see that? I think I just saw that. Oh. All right.
Oh man. I mean, I'm lucky. My time in school was only 3 years. I think that was a max I could take.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say hello to Minnie Salinas, who's in the chat. She's prior Navy. She's also a really good artist. You should check her out. Actually, like I think you two had hit it off pretty well.
Minnie, fucking find me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. Send me a link to your shit. I'll fucking check you out.
She does good stuff. She's She draws guys with like really badass like Golgo 13 type eyebrows.
Dude, so fucking speaking of that, do you follow Artist Recruit or First American Manga?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. We bounce back and forth on Twitch occasionally. It's funny, like he showed up in my live stream once, and he's like, oh hey, are you Prior Marine too? Because he's looking at the info on my website and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I told him like, yeah, I was combat camera and this and that. He's like, oh, I know this other guy who was, in your MOS field too. His name's Tripp Ainsworth. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but speaking of that, here I got another story from the Marine side of Twitch, because Marine Twitch exists.
Okay. I did not know this.
I'm slowly uncovering this myself too. So there's this artist named Lee Kohs. It's like Kohs, but he goes by like Kohs Art on Twitch. So it's like Kohs Art.
So I could say Kohs Art or Chaos Art or Chaos.
Yeah, something. It kind of looks like the Warhammer way of spelling Chaos Art. But anyways, and like he's worked for like LucasArts and all these big studios and stuff. Yeah, he's like really, dude. He like lives in San Diego. So we were going to meet up and stuff, and then the whole like quarantine happened. It's like, well, everywhere we want to get fish tacos is closed down. So
yeah.
But anyways, so we started talking a little bit when he raided my channel once, just like blindly, and saw that like, oh, I was Prior Marine too. We started asking the inevitable questions like, oh, what was your MOS field? And I'm like, yeah, I was combat camera, and he's like, I was combat camera too, and I'm like, what years? And so he told me like he was in from like, I think he was like late 90s to like the mid 2000s or something. I think he went to like Afghanistan in the early part of it.
Yeah.
Back when it was indie. I think he did anyways. He might have been in Iraq too. I can't quite remember. But then he starts telling me the story about like a really shitty staff NCO that he had. And I'm like,
Was
and
his
he's like
name
just
Alabiso or Jenkins?
well, he was like describing them to me, and I'm like, did this staff NCO like was he like really jacked and stuff? And he's like, yeah.
Was he a super white guy with a bunch of Native American tattoos?
I can't remember, but
Did
it
he
was
slick
so
his hair back and have an entire fucking thing at Copenhagen and like the bottom cheek, his entire fucking thing?
yeah.
Was he accused of a bunch of sexual assault fucking type shit by a bunch of other staff NCOs and then got out of the Marines and went to the Pentagon and ended up being the DOD head of sexual assault response coordinators?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so
We're talking about the same guy.
really small world. So Christina knows what we're talking about. So yeah, just crazy small world. So yeah, military Twitch is a small and fascinating place.
Well, no, the reason I brought up Dan from First American Manga or Artist Recruit, depending on where you're following him, is because you brought up Gogol 13, and like I was looking at some of his stuff, and like me and him talk a little bit back and forth for dialogue stuff because he read my first book and he's like, I like the dialogue in this. Give me some pointers. I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever, right? But anyway, I was looking at the art and I'm like, hey, so this is a dude in a fucking very grisly look, and he's got like an M16 right beside the side of his head, and he's smoking a cigarette and looking stoically into the distance. This kind of looks like the cover from Gogol 13. Is that a coincidence? He's like, no, dude, it's not. Let me tell you about Gogol 13. So then I had to sit through I don't want to say had to sit through because like it's a fucking great dude, but you know when some people get super excited and like talk to you for like half an hour about something you already know about, and it's like, yep, sure, got it, man. It's like, dude, I get it. The guy's a badass. Although my only criticism of Gogol 13 is like in any of these sex scenes where like the chick's just going wild and he's like,
Yeah, he has like that totally like deadpan like maname expression going on. That.
Yeah, and I will say,
sorry, go ahead.
The movie sucked.
I never saw it.
They took the anime and like crushed it down to like an hour, and like left out most of the plot, and it was just like, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna shoot a bunch of dudes, I'm gonna drive around in a car. It's like, if you just put Judas Priest behind this would be fucking great, but drop the fucking dialogue, man.
Oh man, gosh, that reminds me. I told you about the war wagon that we had in Afghanistan, right?
Maybe, but I mean, feel free to.
Basically, so it was this terrible vehicle that everybody hated being the one assigned to drive it because it was awful. Like, so we didn't drive MRAPs or Humvees or anything like that. We were just driving around like up armored SUVs and stuff. And the war wagon was this big, ugly, terrible thing that a bunch of Filipino contractors just kind of welded armor onto. But then one fun thing about it was it had speakers mounted to the roof. And sorry, I just saw something in the chat. What's it? Nominally, it was so that you could like yell through the the loudspeaker to the locals to like get out of the street or something. Because honking your horn never did anything over there.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, But the one thing that would really get people out of the way as you're, tearing down the street, a huge cloud of dust, is if you're blasting Motorhead or Judas Priest through the loudspeakers. So we would just shred around Kabul doing that, and like that would clear the roads out like crazy. Like, I mean, we were blasting Gwar, just Emperor, stuff like that, nice. KMFDM, and I remember though, like when Mad Max Fury Road came out, and they had the whole Doof Warrior, the guy playing the flaming guitar and stuff. Like, I could not stop laughing. Was that?
I love that guy.
Yeah, like I could not stop laughing and smiling every time I saw that. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like the LSD version of Afghanistan for me.
Other thing to bring up, what is it? Oh shit, fucking sorry. What is it? In the comments, Minnie was talking about was it also the existence of marine twitch does not surprise me better than thoughts. I don't know if you follow Vet TV at all, but they had a contest for like funniest songs, and I came in third for a song called Instagram GI Thoughts, and the whole song's just about fucking people getting out of the military and getting tattooed the fuck up, and then starting a coffee company, and then like getting naked and like posting fucking like nude selfies and shit. It's also, don't go to Vet TV to watch it because it's behind a paywall, but I think it's on my YouTube, and if it's not, it's on my Instagram somewhere. So,
oh, nice. So you made that for Vet TV?
So no and yes. They did a thing like, hey, if you got something to submit to this, go for it. And then like I was thinking, hey, this has to be something new. So no, sorry, I got a lot of shit going on because like when they did that, I was in a class. And I want to talk about this class. Remind me, the history of the supernatural, fun class. But the guy did not believe in like tests or homework. So it was like, hey, dude, you're going to be writing 30 pages worth of response papers a week. So it was like, I don't have time to write a song about this. So like, I took an old song that I had and just like made like a quick fucking video for it and threw it up. But
nice. I'll have to check that out. So yeah, go to Vet TV and everybody and check that out.
Oh, don't look at it. Because you have to like pay to see it there, but like if you just watch it on my YouTube, then it's
okay.
Which I'm all about that. Like, dude, if you can pay for it and you want to, go for it. But here's a free place.
Right.
That's another thing I fucking do with my books. It's like, yeah, you could buy the books, but the Kindle app is free on your phone, and the Kindle version of the book's like $1. So. I mean,
also, I wanted to ask, have you ever heard of a book called Mine Were of Trouble by Peter Kemp?
I don't think so.
Let me go grab it for you real quick. I'm going to leave you with the chat room for a second while I grab it, because like this is worth talking about real quick. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay. All right. So while he's gone, I don't know what. Oh, that went black. Okay. So while he's gone, I don't know what kind of book he's going to bring up. Just going by the title, I'm going to tell you about a book called The Iron Dream. And pretty much what happened in The Iron Dream is there's a young corporal in the German army who gets done with World War I, and he goes back to Vienna to try to be an artist. And then he makes it as an artist. And he doesn't get into politics. He makes it as an artist. So then little Adolf, being the artist that he is, decides to move to San Francisco. And it's the early 1920s. And when he gets to San Francisco, he joins a biker gang. So little Adolf is working his way up in this biker gang. But while he's in this biker gang, he also decides to become a musician, and he invents heavy metal in the 1920s. So you got this biker gang going around blasting this fucking heavy metal music. And then after he's made it as a professional heavy metal musician, he decides that he wants to start writing science fiction books. And then his science fiction books takes off. And then that book, not the book that he wrote in the book, but the book itself this is about, ends up winning a fucking Hugo. So, that's his thing. I was telling them about the Iron Dream, if you've ever read that.
Oh, yeah, I've got it on I've got it, but I haven't read it yet. It's it's insane. Like I started reading like the first few chapters, and I'm like, it reads like somebody is like terrible, like Nazi Mary Sue story off like Angel Fire from the 90s or something. And I'm like, this is like
Hugo.
Oh my gosh. It was so it was just one of the best like parodies ever.
Yeah.
But no, I wanted to talk about, so this book right here, put out by Mystery Grove Publishing.
Oh, no. I thought you said Mein Wehr of Trouble.
Oh, no.
Oh, and that's the whole reason I was like, okay, so that sounds German. So let me talk about the Iron Dream.
Oh, no. No, so Peter Kemp he was like this British guy. Like he volunteered during the Spanish Civil War. And like he fought on the nationalist side, like for Franco and like the monarchists and all them, against the Republicans, the communists, and what have you. And then he went into like, I guess like the British special forces in World War II, and like shot up a bunch of Nazis in Africa or something, and like had like just crazy adventures. Like dude was like an Indiana Jones like kind of adventurer.
Like one of those people that there's like one person in a generation that doesn't get a lot of fucking notification, but it's it's kind guy
kind of
lived.
like Ernst Jünger, you know.
Oh, dude,
But
I'll go into that in a minute. But go on.
yeah, but this is put out by Mystery Grove Pub. I don't know. It's kind of cloudy,
Mystery
but
Publishing Company.
yeah. I've only gotten a little bit in this. I've kind of like, I'm just sort of like, I'm so busy with my graphic novel. Like I have almost no time to read. Like I'm reading that and the Gene Wolfe Book of the New Sun series. It's really good, like dark fantasy. But there's like this one like little bit in here where there's no real story so far. It's just, he's just describing like just random hilarious events and stuff. There's like one case where like a bunch of like Italians who are volunteering in Spain, like they wanted to go to this tavern or something, but the Spaniards were like, oh no, we're not going to let a bunch of Italians in here. And you know, and even though it's like these Spaniards, like they're all fighting on the same side notionally, like you know the Italian like volunteers, like they get kicked out of this tavern or something, and they're all pissed off because they can't go drink and chill out or whatever. And so the tank commander basically just commandeers one of his tanks and just rams it through the wall of the tavern and opens it up and then lets all his men come in so they can start drinking and stuff.
Nice.
It's like just little like hilarious stories like that.
Nice. Dude, that's small shit though. Like to tie it into fucking Ernst Jünger, fucking one of my favorite parts of Storm of Steel was at one of the parts where you're still a junior enlisted and he pissed off his NCOs, so he had to go into no man's land with a pickaxe and not a rifle and dig up landmines during a firefight. It's just like his like ears, like he's like up to his eyes in, you know, mud, just like dragging this like pickaxe through the dirt, like please hit something, please hit something, blow me the fuck up so I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one. Mystery Grove also re-released Storm of Steel. Like they got a hold of like a more accurate translation of it somehow. So it's worth getting. But if you've only read like the Penguin Classics version or whatever.
So I started with the Penguins one. I got somebody else had another translation. I forget who it was. And then I have a independent version of it. And it's interesting because they're all completely different fucking books.
Yeah.
Like in one, he's just like this like faceless bad guy that just happens to be writing the story. The other one's like this like deep, like scared kid. And then like the other one is it's somewhere in the middle, but like whoever translated it didn't translate it well. So like you have to like really read between the lines to figure out what's going on. But it's interesting because like if you look at chapter by chapter, the same shit's happening. They just present it in such a different fucking manner that it's a different story.
Yeah. What I love so much about him was just like how incredibly based the guy was. Like he was like a super like German patriot, but like to such a degree where like he thought the Nazis were posers and he was like kind of loosely part of the plot to assassinate Hitler. But he was like too popular and well loved in Germany so that the Nazis were like, oh shoot, well we can't just kill him, so we're just gonna like force him out of the military and like let him like we're just gonna like put him into internal exile into like some cottage off in the forest where he can collect bugs and write books.
Well, one of the things what I think is funny, and I don't know if this is causation or correlation or coincidence, whatever the fuck it was, but I think it was in 33 or like early 34 when he got fired, kicked out of the Nazi party. One of the reasons that was cited was because all he was doing was hanging out in Paris and like doing drugs with some asshole named Pablo Picasso.
Yeah. He would like literally he would you know, he was serving in the French front during World War II because he was a little bit too popular and valuable to put on the Eastern Front or North Africa or whatever.
All he did in Paris was fucking opium with Picasso.
Yeah, and like he would talk about how like he would stand out on rooftops sipping wine, watching the Allied bombings flattening the city around him, and like his NCOs and or his whatever his Batman they call him would like be yelling at him like, "Sir, you need to get down from there," and he's like, you know, he's up there with his wine glass. He's like,
Well, I mean, it was actually more like this because he lost like what half his fucking hand in World War One, and then like he had this like gnarly fucking scar on half his fucking face because like he talked about it in Storm of Steel where he was bored and decided to just like take apart a hand grenade and it didn't go well.
I forgot about that. Holy crap!
Yeah, it was like, yeah. So 2 fingers and half my face later. Don't
I just
take
find it hilarious that
he was like.
He was also one of the first people in human history to take LSD with Albert Hoffman. Like he had his whole memoirs about it. Like he did a lot of crazy crap. Like
I haven't read them yet, but I bought them and I have them on my shelf upstairs. But he wrote like 20 science fiction books in the fucking 60s and 70s.
Yeah, like he wrote On the Marble Cliffs, The Forest Passage, The Glass Bees. I can't remember which one it was. It's like there was one he wrote like during World War II that was like against, like it was a criticism of the National Socialists.
Yeah.
But he had to like write it in like a very like careful fantasy kind of way so that the Gestapo wouldn't like just get fed up and drag him off in the night. But it's like they would still kick open his door and search him and question him, but he knew how to not get too much dirt on himself.
Yeah.
To,
well, I mean, I just imagine the dude fucking being in either, Berlin, Bavaria, or fucking Paris, like in his fucking like Hugo Boss uniform with his fucking like swastika armband, like these fucking posers.
But that's the thing. Like, apparently, like he was so popular to the National Socialist Party. Well, I mean, like they kept begging him to like, basically, I don't know, speak for them or be some kind of figurehead in the party. And like he would like give them the middle finger at every possible turn. Yeah. I mean, I think some of it also came down to the fact that like he was friends with a lot of Jewish German World War I veterans. And so when they all like were getting persecuted and stuff, he's like, oh, fuck this. Like, I didn't like, this is not what I fought for, Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. His book, The Forest Passage, is also like, I started reading a little bit of it, but I, like a lot of things, I got sidetracked and didn't get to finish it. So I need to start over on it, but it's like, it was off to a really freaking good start.
One of the other things that like disappoints me, I don't want to say about him, but like in relation to him is Sebastian Junger writes a lot of fucking badass shit like that. And they're not related. Like Sebastian Junger should be like his like great nephew or some shit.
Yeah. I haven't read a whole lot of Sebastian Junger's stuff. I mean, I've listened to like a couple interviews of his. Like he's one of those guys where like he's so everywhere that I never.
Granted, he has a lot of hit and miss. Like he's done a lot of stuff that's like, dude, fuck that. But
I remember you telling me that. Yeah,
he did spend a year in the Korengal Valley, fucking like just getting fucked up with the 10th Mountain Division to like make a 90-minute fucking documentary. Jeez.
So, answer honestly. Did you ever get to try the weed in Afghanistan?
No. I mean, I actually, let me take that back. Did I get to? I had the opportunity.
Oh man.
And I will say no because I have 2 reactions with marijuana. One is I go immediately to sleep, and I have a really good night of sleep, but I just go straight to sleep. The other one is not my reflection, but the thing in the mirror is going to kill me.
Oh man.
And neither one of those 2 is a good fucking time for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably better off without it. I went through a whole period where from about like 2015 to late 2017, I was probably doing just about every drug on the menu. So, I mean, overall, like I was lucky. I had pretty positive results for me. I got my graphic novel kind of out of it.
Yeah.
It kind of got me to stop drinking and having rage flashes and panic attacks and whatnot. So that was nice.
Yeah.
But for most people, I would say generally, like, look, if you haven't started already, don't start. And if you're doing it, maybe start tapering off.
Yeah. No, and then like the other thing though too is like with drugs. I only am ever usually in the mood to do that or like open to it if I'm already drunk, which is like a gateway thing.
Yeah.
Alcohol is the gateway drug, not weed. However, and also on this, like I don't give a fuck. If you want to do it, have fun, do you. Like, I don't care. But I don't have positive experiences with it. And by positive experiences, I mean, like, it's always a letdown. Like, I had a buddy that, you know, had some shit, and I had a very similar reaction with mushrooms, LSD, and fucking what the fuck was the other one? Not DMT, but there was another one. But I found out later that all those things don't affect you if you have X amount of alcohol in your system. And it's like, hey, listen, I've drank 30 fucking beers tonight.
Oh man,
This much of a plant, it's just not gonna fucking do any. Like, the alcohol cancels it out. So it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do this sober. But
right.
if I'm already in the state of mind to do it, it's not gonna have any effect because alcohol, it's good for external wounds and it's good for internal wounds. It cleans things up.
I these days, like, I mean, I barely, I drink. Like, I might have like a drink every other night or something, and that's, I kind of enjoy like just being able to get a nice, pleasant, loose buzz off of so little. Versus, you know, when I was still in the Marines, it's like, okay, I need to drink like 5 beers to even start feeling something, and I'm glad. I don't know. I'm glad I can get a nice buzz for cheap these days.
So I have a funny story for you about that. So it was maybe 3 or 4 months after I got out of the Marine Corps. I'm up at where I'm at now, and you know, I'm living with my wife, girlfriend at the time, maybe fiance. I don't know when, but chick I'm married to now wasn't married to her yet, right? And we're at this fucking bar, and I have one of my buddies in town, and this bar is a fucking great bar, by the way. Like, it's about the size of like a big garage. It's about, the bar's about the size of a 2-car garage, and you can smoke inside. So I'm happy, right?
Yeah, those are the best.
So we're at this fucking bar, and this guy fucking shows up to the table, and you know, he starts talking to my wife, and turns out that, you know, it's somebody that she went to high school with, right? I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool, you know, fucking whatever, they're hitting it off. And then he's like, all right, cool, you know, fucking blah, whatever, and, you know, he fucks off. But then later he comes back up and is like, hey, let's do some fucking shots. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm good. Like, I've had like fucking Jack and Cokes are like $2.50, and I'm already running a fucking $50 tab. Like, I'm good, you know, like fucking whatever. He's like, no, don't be a fucking bitch. And I'm like,
oh,
okay, let's go do some fucking shots.
yeah.
So we get to the bar, just me and him. My wife, my future wife, and my buddy are like watching, and I say, hey, barkeep, give me 4 fucking shots of Jack. And the dude's like, dude, I can't do Jack Daniels. Like, anything besides Jack Daniels, though. And I'm like, you're gonna call me a bitch, and then you're not gonna take what I get. He's like, dude, anything besides Jack Daniels, though. I'm like, all right. Hey, give me 4 shots of Everclear. Like, I just see like the white come out of this fucking dude's face, right?
Oh my
god. Bartender gives us 4 shots of fucking Everclear. He's like, are we taking this back to the table? Like, no. I'm doing 2 shots. You're doing 2 shots. It's like, I'm like, you call me a bitch. You already bitched out of the first one. So what are we gonna fucking do, right? So he's like, okay, all right. So I take my shot, and he takes like half of his, puts it down, and starts puking on the fucking ground, right? Bouncer drags this dude out, and I'm like, all right, so literally the entire bar is looking at me, so I'm going to finish his shot. I'm going to take this other shot and this other shot. And everyone's like, yeah, cool, whatever, right? So then, like, I light up the cigarette, like, oh, yeah, I'm cool guy. Fucking, I just took fucking 4 shots of Everclear and got this guy kicked out of the bar. What's up? How you doing? And then, like, as soon as everybody looks away, I, like, run to the fucking bathroom and just, like, puke my fucking brains out, right? Just, like, bleh. And then I come back out, like, light another cigarette, because the first one, I'm going to take 1 puff. Yeah, what's up? Just to look cool, snuff it out, bounce, come back out. Yeah, I'm cool. Like, what's up?
I think I remember one of the experiences that made me really kind of, how do I put it, signaled like the end of my big drinking part of my life was when I bumped into Gian in San Diego when he was out there for anybody who doesn't know, Gian was another one of the Marines that we were with. He was actually the one who got me like started in weightlifting and stuff. He's this Korean dude who looks kind of like Elvis. And he was in San Diego at the same time, and he's like, oh what's up, Lodge? Oh, dude, you should meet up and go get some drinks, bro. And so naturally we do that. We go to the ass lamp and just got freaking wasted. And like, I just looked at the my credit card the day after, and then
Oh, dude,
two, I was
that's
like,
always a fucking downer. It's like, dude, I had 3 drinks. Why the fuck did I spend $500 last night?
oh my gosh, that was so awful. And it's like none of the stuff we drank was even that good. It's like I could have gotten a bottle of absinthe, you know, for $50 and had a better time for less money. And I don't know that, and just like those like dark memories of like just these people in the gas lamp, like all, dressed up in these like expensive club outfits, and they're just like doubled over the railing fences, like puking. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in like Taxi Driver or something right now. And
I actually fucking forgot about that movie. Fucking, I watched it again maybe 2-3 months ago, and like the last time I watched it was on VHS. That's a fucking underrated fucking movie. Like, it's
that was
unjustifiably forgotten
so
about.
much. That was like the movie that Joker thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I like Joker, but it wasn't Taxi Driver.
Right. Yeah. Taxi Driver was so good. I mean, Taxi Driver, that was basically my life from like, I don't know, 2014 to 17 or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie, oh, it's so good.
Well, the other one though is like, did you ever listen to Henry Rollins?
I don't really listen to him, but I watched Heat the other week with a friend, and like I liked his appearance in it.
Okay, well, he after he left Black Flag, he had his first solo album, and he had a song called "Disconnect," where it was talking about just trying to disconnect from society. But in the music video, it was like he's a taxi driver. He goes to a diner, freaks out, destroys his fucking apartment, ends up covered in blood. And it was like, I like your references here, guy. Also on that though, he had a movie. I think it's on Netflix. It was called "He Never Died." Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
So pretty much what it is Henry Rollins is this guy. He goes to this diner every night, gets the same thing. He gets like eggplant parmesan, and he's like a vegan, and he minds his own business. Fucking tries not to stay in anybody's face. He flirts with the fucking waitress a little bit, and fucks off. But then a little bit in the movie, it turns out that his like ex-wife ended up having a fucking kid with him, and he didn't really know about it, and he has to go like save this fucking kid, and like he doesn't really seem to give a shit. And he just kind of fuck it, whatever, and he ignores it. But it turns out that his daughter that he doesn't care about was actually kidnapped by the fucking mob, and the mob comes and finds him in this diner while he's eating his eggplant parmesan with the fucking waitress or whatever. And he tells the waitress to go into the bathroom. Waitress goes in the bathroom, hears a bunch of gunshots. She comes out, and then like everyone's dead besides him, but he's got a bunch of holes in his head. So they like go to the fucking like her car, and he gets these pliers out and starts pulling the bullets out. And he's like, she's freaking the fuck out because everyone's dead. He's pulling bullets out of his head. He takes her back to his apartment and starts saying all this cryptid shit where she's like, well, what did you do? Because we went on this one date, and you said you used to be in the army. It's like, yeah, I was in the army for a bit, and I was in prison for a long time, fucking blah, this. He's like pulling shit out of this trunk. He's like, oh, god damn, fuck, I forgot how to speak French. Ends up turning out that he's Cain. And like the curse of Cain was that he was gonna live forever. Yeah. And he is ends up just living in this like 1-bedroom apartment in fucking New York for whatever the fuck reason. There's a few more like not weird, but like quirky plot twists in it, but it is definitely a good watch for that kind of I'm not identifying with society, but also here's some like sci-fi or fantasy. What the fuck? Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. What was the title one more time?
He Never Died.
He Never Died. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out then. Let's see. Oh, Minnie Selena says, oh, it sounds like one of my characters. Yeah, she's doing like I think a comic or illustrated novel kind of thing. It's like it's a bunch of Navy stuff, so it's a little bit mysterious and esoteric to me. But
well, I've done 2 deployments on fucking ships, so I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, you'll probably get it better than I did because you actually went on floats. I mean, for my deployment was basically, I hate Quantico so bad, I am begging them to send me to Afghanistan.
Oh, dude, I can not to be the one upper, but I'm gonna one up that real quick.
Okay.
So I get back from the 31st Mew, which is a Mew out of Okinawa, right?
Mhm.
And I get back to fucking Quantico, and because I can, I walk into the fucking monitor's office, right? I'm like, hey, I've been on station for like 2 years. I need to get the fuck out of Quantico. And he's like,
Mhm.
okay, man, well, I can get you to Lejeune in like 18 months, or I can send you to 29 Palms in 3 weeks. I'm like, send me to fucking 29 Palms. Get me the fuck out of Quantico. Month later, I'm in
Wow.
29 Palms.
Oh man, that's awesome. Jeez. Ugh, so jealous. I think the worst was when I was about to EAS and I got a call from S1 and they're like, "Hey, is this Corporal Lodge?" And we've got your orders ready. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't EAS for like another few weeks." And they're like, "EAS? This is your PCS orders to Miramar." And I'm like, "Oh, would have
Whoops.
been real nice to have those 2 years ago." Ugh.
Dude, Quantico
So
fucking sucks.
that was, I mean, it was made tolerable by the good people there, but man, it's just the place was just soul crushing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, listen, we got about 10 minutes left before we got to be out.
Yeah, yeah.
But since we're on that and we haven't got to this yet, I want to talk about the T-shirt behind you and the guy that can you tell us
Oh,
the guy that did not kill himself on the balcony?
yeah, Yukio Mishima.
Yeah.
So, thanks to PewDiePie, this book is now worth like $500 apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I got it when it was like $10 off Amazon.
Dude, you were reading that shit fucking like you got me into that in like 2012.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Anyways, yeah. So basically, he was Yukio Mishima. He was like Japan's like most famous novelist, playwright.
And this was the 70s, right?
60s and 70s. So like he during World War II, like he was really patriotic and he volunteered to join the army, but he was disqualified because he had like a really bad pneumonia at the time and they thought it was tuberculosis or something. And so like all of his like childhood friends like died, in the Pacific Front. And so he had this like lifelong survivor's guilt about it. But he went into he got married, had kids or a kid, I can't remember. And he became like this really successful writer, like he was winning like Pulitzer prizes and stuff like that. And then like at some point in the late 60s, he realized that to complete himself as an artist, he had to kind of become a work of art himself. And so he took up bodybuilding and martial arts and kendo. And also like he started like his own like personal militia basically, but because of his popularity.
Like Bushido.
Yeah. And like because of his popularity, like, the government at the time was just like, oh, he's just it's just some guys doing, camping out in the woods and martial arts and stuff or whatever. Well, he also had a lot of problems with, on one hand, you had the communists kind of like trying to pull Japan towards the far left. And then on the other hand, you had the American occupation, which was like kind of opening Japan up to this sort of like degenerated, like hyper consumeristic, materialistic, capitalist society where it's like,
yeah, the reason Japan is the way it is now is 100% our fault.
Yeah, it's like yes, it's like the Japanese success, but at the same time, it's like the whole you had like the loss of that kind of warrior male meaning to exist, and eventually people stopped marrying and stuff like that, and just the birth rate started plummeting and all that. So there's like an existential melees, and so but long story short, his solution to try and fix that was he basically. Him and some of his followers stormed the headquarters of a Japanese self-defense force, basically Japanese army base. They took the commandant hostage, and he went out on a balcony and unfurled like a list of demands. And he was wearing like the kamikaze headband. He delivered this speech out to the soldiers down below, telling them to like reject the American imperialists and stuff like this, and they all just kind of like jeered at him and laughed at him and told him to knock it off. And so he went inside and he wanted to die as the very last samurai, so he committed seppuku, and his assistant cut his head off. And on top of that, he also had a fling with Japan's most famous drag queen. I forgot to mention that. And he also makes a cameo in
Wait, I know that. Fill me in on that.
I forgot his name, but yeah, he was like Japan's like most famous drag queen. He was like 6'5" or something, and he starred in this film series called The Black Lizard. You can look it up on YouTube. It's like this really campy, like 1960s Batman level crime thriller, and Mishima appears as this taxidermied bodybuilder at one point. Yeah, he basically this drag queen supervillain like has this villain island hideout where she kidnaps beautiful people and taxidermies them. And so Yukio Mishima was like, yeah, this like taxidermied bodybuilder in her like Batman villain lair. So yeah, Yukio Mishima. But seriously, like his memoirs, Sun and Steel,
they're solid.
It's really good. It's all talking about like, going from being a weak, sickly, intellectual type guy to a bodybuilder Chad. It's very similar to like Theodore Roosevelt. How he was like
he grew up like asthmatic and then like ended up being effectively God.
Yeah, basically he went through like Chad therapy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Yukio Mishima.
Nice. No, like one of the things that like brought that up, like you got the shirt behind you, but the other one is have you heard the response for things where somebody says how to do blah blah whatever on the internet, or they post a meme and then it's like instructions unclear, got dicks stuck in ceiling fan?
I've heard it like once or twice. But.
So one of the ones that's been popping up more recently has been instructions unclear, Tenohigai Banzai.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. Good shit. All right.
Jeez.
Well, hey, fucking we're at about our time limit. I know your guys know where to find you. I know my guys know where to find you. I'm sorry. I know where my guys know where to find me. Where can my guys find you?
Yeah, so they can just find me on, like, I'm on every social media platform as just at Reagan Lodge. So that goes for YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, ReaganLodge.com, my website. Pretty much everywhere. There's I think you've got my link tree in the video description. So they can just go there. And that right there has got links to everything that I do. And if they're interested in getting my graphic novel, I've got a mailing list that they can sign up for, which I'll never send it. I'll never send them any spam. All it is just so I can notify people when the book is launching and they can get in early on it.
Also on your website, you have a decent amount of original art for sale.
Yeah, that too. Check out my store.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them over my wall. Like one of them is an orange box. It's an orange box with a mountain, and it's got this weird steampunk looking fucking airplane flying through it. And the other one, it's I'm not gonna say it's the rising sun, but it looks like the rising sun. And the silhouette of this Terminator guy and a really scared fox with a hurt arm.
Yeah, Protector. That was one of my. Yeah. I was glad you scooped that one up.
It's got a good. It's in a nice wood frame, and it's up on my wall.
Excellent. That's where it belongs. All right, man. Thanks for having me on. This was excellent. We'll have to do it again sometime, or I'll have you on my channel sometime.
Hey, dude, thank you for coming on. It was a fucking good time, man. Fucking absolutely. Although next time, let's talk less art and more about how did you phrase it? The myth that the world is round is a Freemason conspiracy.
Oh yeah. So the Earth is flat on multiple faces because it's a rhombus.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for being on, man.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. See ya.